I had a phone call with a client today, and the entire time he's talking, I'm thinking like, this is going to make a great video, because he said some stuff that I've always known to be true, and I've even said in past videos, but I don't know that I've made a big enough deal about it. He's an SEO client that wants to start up PPC again. He hasn't run Google Ads in a long time, and one of the comments he made, I was talking about the just building some estimates and projections for him, and he goes, "I don't trust Google's forecasting numbers at all," and he went on to say that he'll look at Google's estimates for, keyword traffic, and Google will come back to him and tell him that there's zero traffic for terms that he ranks for and gets, hundreds of clicks a month. And what's interesting about that is I've had a very similar experience. So I think Google's estimates, you have to start somewhere. So it's sometimes the only data that we have available to us. And I realize that there are other tools out there, but it's just the most accessible. And so, as general benchmarks, I think that it's worth looking at. So I'm not dissuading you from looking at Google's forecasts. But I do think that especially when traffic is low, so longer tail key phrases, markets that don't have as much search traffic or aren't as competitive, what I have found is Google is way off. One really good example I'll give you is in the Montessori school space. Montessori schools, we have an entire agency that services nothing but Montessori schools. We have over 30 Montessori Google Ads campaigns that we run. And if you go to Google and ask them, how much traffic will there be in this particular area for the search term Montessori school near me, or private Montessori school, or slightly longer tail key phrase, more very specific offering, kind of obscure in some ways. Not everybody knows what a Montessori school is. Google is going to tell you more often than not there's zero traffic available to this for this particular term, or very little traffic. And yet we've got 30 schools that are all running very successfully, and we go ultra specific in the keyword targeting. So I've always known that Google's estimates and projections were off, but started to play with that a little bit. So here's the intellectual exercise that I'm doing today. I chose a client at random and a keyword at random. The client oddly ended up being my dad, which is kind of funny. I've got over 100 clients, by the way, so it's not like I'm just some dude on YouTube that only runs his dad's campaigns, but that's the way that it worked out. So here's my dad's campaign, and then I chose the keyword at random. The rest of these will be blurred out, but 8x10 rugs. And notice, please, that this is phrase match. So this is not being broadened, much beyond certain capabilities. And yet I'm getting 5,700 impressions. So the last 30 days, we got almost 6,000 impressions and an average cost per click at $7.80. Now, I'm not going to beat up on, notice that conversion rate, by the way, 30% conversion rate. You damn right. I'm not going to beat up on Google's CPC estimates, because there's so much that goes into this, as we already know. But just for the academic discussion, the CPC here, they say, is 535. We're hyper aggressive with this particular campaign for strategic reasons. It's really competitive. So it's okay that the CPCs are off. And that's within, I think, an acceptable margin for error. But the thing that really throws me is Google's estimating 1,200 impressions. We get 5 times that. The market is 5 times the size. Now, obviously, Google right now is giving us the estimates for this particular phrase, and phrase match is going to have some expansion capabilities, but it doesn't explain away the fact that Google, I think, tends to veer low. And when you're dealing with, this is a really obscure kind of term, 8x10 rug. They could be searched for in multiple ways, just in terms of the way that people are going to type that out. And yet here we are with Google, they basically are reporting 20% of the traffic that I happen to know exists. Now, I realize that there's other variables here. Google's averaging this data across, a period of time, and they're looking forward, I'm looking back, et cetera, et cetera. All that said, Google, they underestimate the traffic that's accessible. I have entire companies. I've got an organization that purchases, I'm trying to think about how to veil his identity in a way that doesn't just give it away. He purchases a very specific type of business. So, let's say like UPS stores. Imagine he purchases a very specific type of franchise business. It's not UPS stores, but kind of like that obscure, that like niche. So this guy only buys UPS stores, let's say. And we don't go and bid on sell my business. We go on sell my UPS store fast. If you go to Google and you look for estimates and projections on his particular business niche, it's virtually zero. And yet we're killing it. He's netting 6 figures a month. Now he's in a great business niche. And as you can tell, I'm under a very strict NDA not to talk about what that is. But we're able to produce a phenomenal amount of leads, high quality leads, for keywords that Google says there's zero traffic for. The note here, the take home message is, absolutely run forecasts, estimates, projections, very necessary. It's an important exercise to walk through, especially if you're managing expectations with a client. But don't be dissuaded if Google tells you there's no traffic. Run it anyway. Give it a test. See what happens. Because I think you're going to be, in many cases, very pleasantly surprised. I know that I am on multiple campaigns. That includes, phrases that we run for my agency. Montessori School is a great example. The Business Broker, great example. Hand-knotted rugs, 8x10 rugs. Kind of you can't call it long tail per se, but it's not the first thing that's going to pop into somebody's mind. It's definitely high commercial intent. It's bottom of the funnel because they know the size that they're looking for. And here's Google reporting on 20% of the traffic that we know is available, less actually. So I hope this is helpful and it lands properly. I shoot one of these videos a day. So if this is the first one you're seeing, don't forget to subscribe. Thumbs up if you liked what I had to say. Comment if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.